to the BLABBERMALT Show with your hosts, Dave and Matthias, two guys that blabber incessantly about beer, brewing, and bullcrap. Stick around while they brew up another tasty episode. Dave and Matthias here.
What's up, everybody?
We are finally getting the BLABBERMALT Show off the ground. I'm excited. You excited?
Oh my
Matthias?
gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It took a minute.
coming.
We had a little bit of technical difficulties,
It's all right.
but
we overcame.
Overcame.
So yeah, it's our first show, and we are in sunny Bavalage at
Yes.
Audio Bay Studios. We're here. Sean is switching on the ones and twos for us over here.
Thanks, Sean.
I'm super happy about that. Yeah, man.
All right, hit it.
So
It's time to mash in.
Outline how the show's going to work, and we're going to kind of model this after a brew day.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do. We know brewing, so we're going to keep it the same here on the show. So we start with the mash in. This is when you mix all the good ingredients, take the grain, grind it up, mix it with the hot water, mix it around, set yourself up for a good brew day. So that's kind of analogous to the introduction. We just come on, say, what's coming up, what we're drinking for the day. Just set
a little
the stage.
excitement. Yeah. Get it rolling.
Once your mash is done in the brew day, you move on to the Vorloff, which is just you have that false bottom at the bottom of the mash tun. The liquid goes through, you pump it back on top, and you really just clarify that beer.
Clear it up, baby.
Clear up the wort. So
yeah, in this segment, we're going to do some guest speakers, right?
Yeah, that's when we're going to bring on the guest and ask them the questions we want to know. It could be brewers, could be vendors, could be maltsters.
Yeah.
And we're going to get clear on what they do.
For sure.
So that's how it applies to the show here.
It's time.
Welcome to the BLABBERMALT Show with your hosts, Dave and Matthias, two guys that blabber incessantly about beer, brewing, and bullcrap. Stick around while they brew up another tasty episode.
Yeah, we have homebrew happening, cold brew happening. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world of beer around our area. Also take some time to talk about what's up and coming in the beer world. And then also going to kick it over to you for the music.
Yeah, we do some, just...
It's time.
Welcome to the BLABBERMALT Show with your hosts, Dave and Matthias. Yeah.
All the good things happening in our Cleveland.
It's time.
Welcome to the BLABBERMALT Show
Our favorite
with
part.
your hosts, Dave and Matthias, two guys that blabber incessantly about beer, brewing, and bullcrap. Stick around while they brew up another tasty episode. And sign off for the day. So that's how.
That sounds good,
That's
right?
how the show's going to work.
Really nice brew day.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right.
It's time for the
For
Vorloff.
this Vorloff guest segment today, we're not going to do a guest today, Dave, because it's our first show. Some of the things we've been hearing on the internet over the last week or so since we put this out to the universe about this podcast is who
It's
is
time for-
Matthias and who is Dave. So why don't you just take some time to talk about who we are here on the show, kind of our little bit of background. So Dave, why don't you take some time and just let the audience know who you are?
Yeah, I mean, I started out in college home brewing. Got a hold of a couple books because I went to college in the Stone Age before the internet, and that's how we learned things back then. We read books. It had pages, had stuff written on it.
That's insanity.
And that's how, yeah, I know. So picked up a couple books and made some beer that was awful, but, it was fun, super fun.
Absolutely.
After college, kind of took a little time off brewing. You get busy with life and whatnot. It wasn't until, 2012, 2013, kind of got back into it and signed on the internet and say, let's see what's out there. And, oh, my God, the information and ingredients and equipment that's available. So got back into it, brewed some beers, started entering competition, joined the Snobs, met a bunch of other brewers.
What SNOB stands for, Dave?
That's the Society of Northeast Ohio Brewers. Bunch of
Nice.
great people.
For sure.
So bring my beers to them. They critique it, give you a lot of hints on and tips on how to improve it. So I started getting better scores at homebrew competitions and I had a collaboration with, we're going to talk about Platform a little bit, but I did a collaboration with them. And during that brew day, I had entered the long shot competition with Sam Adams and found out during that brew day that I won that 2016.
Look at you.
And that is about the time that we became acquainted.
Absolutely. That's a great little story for you, pal.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Homebrewing is a great hobby because at the end of the day, you have a bunch of beer to drink.
Yeah. Yeah, and you brew good beer.
That doesn't suck, you know?
It doesn't suck at all. So my story is not dissimilar to yours, right? So I think that's kind of a rule of thumb with a lot of homebrewers, right? You kind of find out that you want to try your hand at making your own beer, and you do. In our case, probably about 20 years ago, we had an opportunity to try out a Mr. Beer kit. They're not sponsoring our show. I don't suggest you go out and buy one, but it did enter us into the world of beer, and many people too. And so we made a beer after Christmas and thought it was going to be the best thing ever. You make it, you put it in those little plastic bottles, you put it away to ferment, and you think it's going to be the best thing ever, and you're just like slugging it down like, this is great. When in reality, it's probably the worst thing ever.
No,
but we did it,
it's
right?
great.
It's great.
Yeah.
You do it, you learn how to do it. It's a wonderful thing. And so we did those things as a family, and wasn't the best thing ever. We did a little bit with liquid malt for some time, and then kind of took a little bit of a break, like you said. And then my brother is an engineer and by trade, and got into the all grain brewing when he was in college at the University of Cincinnati. And really kind of sparked an interest back in me to see you can have a little bit more control over the process. Had a cooler and a braided rope, and kind of did that model, and it was really, really great. And so we got involved in that and really used it as an opportunity for us as brothers, me and my brother-in-law Brian and Dan, to get together and to brew beer and to hang out. Brian was working downtown at Gusto, and then moved over to Luca, and didn't see him very often. He was killing himself in the kitchen. So we would use that on Saturdays. He would come in the morning, and we'd start the brew day, and he would leave, and then he'd come back to clean up, which is, the part of what you do, because at the end of cleanup, you get to drink
Lots of beer.
And so we would do those things. And so that's kind of our story. That connection with Platform, and we'll talk about later, we did some brewing with them as home brewers. And then as we started to progress and to see what we wanted to do as a business, we looked at their opportunity to work with them and to launch a platform for us to do our own brewery. But they were still in the infancy stage. They hadn't done a whole lot of those things yet and weren't sure what that next step was for them. And so we had a business plan already. I did that in college, and we worked through the process. Brian was a chef. He was leaving Luca. I decided just to jump in full go and open our own spot. And so we went from brewing on a pretty one-barrel system at our own house to brewing a little bit with other people, and then just jumping straight in with Avon Brewing Company in the fall of 2016. We opened up Medina Brewing Company in 2020, same day as ZZ's Big Top reopened there in Avon.
It was the same day?
It was the same day.
Oh, wow.
Mainly because that was the day that we were allowed to open up after the whole COVID thing.
Oh, okay.
We were both planning to open up on St. Patrick's Day of that year. But literally on that Sunday before St. Patrick's Day, we were told that we weren't allowed to open any new locations that weren't already open, which, looking back on it was just totally insane. But led us to where we're at today. 3 great locations, and there's more along the way. I know we'll be talking about that too. But again, just a great opportunity for us to be involved in the beer world. We have a beer today, though, right? So
Yes,
we have a beer of the day brought to you by Avon Brewing Company.
I thought you'd never get to it.
Never get to it. I was hoping to be the very first thing we do, which I think we're going to add that to the beginning next time.
Yeah.
Move right to the beginning. Mash it in. We're going to crack a beer. Today we have our barrel-aged Christmas ale. You want to go ahead and crack it and see what we got?
Yeah, let's do it.
So This is our gold medal winning Christmas ale, Christmas Miracle. And again, kudos to Great Lakes in the area who really set this style of beer on the map. Cheers, bro.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. So our Christmas ale is a very classic style of Christmas ale. A nice copper amber ale with honey, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, all those wonderful Christmas spices. And we barrel aged this in Cleveland whiskey barrels for about 9 months. Get that really nice, rich barrel oaky flavor. And so we really love what Cleveland whiskey barrels do for our beer. We use them exclusively in all of our barrel aged beers. This is clocking in about 12.3% ABV. So hence the pour in the small glass.
The show's about to get good.
Show's about to be good. Now, Dave, one of the things that's super cool about like Marvel movies, I love, are origin stories, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so we kind of told our little story together. Let's talk about an origin story between us, because this is pretty cool, right? To sit together at this pretty epic studio with this logo behind us that has your name and my name right here.
I know.
And
it's pretty sweet.
I love it. I love it. I love you and your wife and your family.
Slow down, brother. I'm married. Slow down.
I said I love you and your wife.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk later. But we have an origin story, right?
Yeah.
So what is it?
Yeah. It all centers around the Sam Adams long shot competition.
It does. You're right.
That was totally unexpected. I threw a beer out. I made it's called Barnstorm Saison.
We'll talk about that beer for a second, because it's an epic win, by the way.
It was it's kind of I like Saisons a lot, so I brew them a lot. And
you're good at it.
This was a Belgian White Labs 565 or 656, something like that. And I sent it off. I thought it was pretty good, and I made it to the second round. I had to send them some more. And like I said, when I was brewing that, I brewed a blonde that won a competition at the Cleveland Brew Shop with Platform.
Yep.
And that day I got the email that I won the long shot. So what Sam Adams does is they have a competition across the country, and they pick 2 winners from the general population, and then they pick a winner, a home brewer that works for Sam Adams, and they brew it and dispense it. That's the pharmacist talking. Distribute it as a 6-pack, across the nation.
Yep.
And they did that for my beer, and that's super cool.
And it had your face on it, I believe, right?
It had a caricature of my face.
We got to get one of those beers. Do you have any more of those beers?
I got a case.
We
of
have to drink it. We got to just look at it, right?
Yeah.
Get that face on it.
Yeah, it had the forehead was, good Lord, on that caricature.
It was a 5-head.
It's a
That's
5-head,
true.
yeah.
It was nice.
Like a suburban windshield coming down the road at you. Anyway.
Oh my goodness. So exactly. So that's how I met you, right? So you did this epic beer that the mighty great Sam Adams Brewery in Cincinnati, Ohio, this location, right?
Yeah.
Pulled you in, and
took me to the Great American Beer Fest, toured me all around, and they say, hey, this is one of the Sam Adams long shot winners. And every brewery there just brings you.
We're not worthy.
We're
not worthy.
You're like,
crazy, right?
Stop. Yeah.
No, that's epic stuff. So honestly, back in the fall of 2017, so we're just about a year in at Avon Brewing Company. We just do our own beer, right? So that's kind of our big thing is just pushing our own product. And we got a call from Heidelberg saying that they had a local Avon man who won the Sam Adams long shot competition. They had some draft of your Saison, and they wanted to know if we wanted to do a release party.
Yes.
And we said 100% yes. And so we signed up immediately. That's when I met you and your family, and the rest is absolutely history, right?
Yes.
That was an epic night.
Yeah, it was a great night.
You brought everybody in the whole room with you.
Yeah.
It didn't take much, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So that's what we did then. We became fast friends,
Yep.
and we hung out. You guys
Talking beer, geeking out over beer.
all the time.
Yeah.
You guys come to the restaurant, we sit and hang out, and we sample and talk, and you've helped me out some recipes and kind of back and forth with a few things, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And then we have a beer together, which is on tap right now at Avon Brewing Company. You entered beer. Say we use these glasses on purpose today, right? So this glass, it's not this one, but this one right here. This is the Brewfest Waterfront District, right? If you can see that here in the camera. This is the premier, one of the premier brewfests in our area.
It is. It really is.
It happens every summer.
It's outdoor. We always have great weather.
Yep, brewfestwd.com. So great weather all summer long there in the Black River Landings in Lorain, Ohio. Beautiful little area down there now. They've done a great job with the Black River Landing. So you were there, and we had the opportunity to judge. I was a judge for a homebrew competition, and you entered a beer. What beer was that?
That was the Blackberry Bambalam, another Saison.
Oh, Black Betty, Bambalam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that's
my
good.
singing's awful.
No, that's good. So you had a Blackberry Bambalam. So is your Blackberry Saison. So your base recipe of your Saison. Anything different from the long shot?
It was a little bit different on the grain bill, but added a ton of pureed blackberries.
Yep. Yeah, and it was epic,
yeah.
right? So part of the winning that competition was the opportunity to brew at Avon Brewing Company.
Yeah.
And so you came and we hung out and we brewed Blackberry Bambalam in our space and put it on tap. And we have entered that beer and now 3 different competitions.
You
and
guys have won some. Yeah.
we've won 3 different medals, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. A
Yeah,
gold,
that's cool.
a silver, and a bronze. So
Yeah.
that's a really neat thing to even see your product go from homebrew to, a variation, then bring back into the professional world, going to big competitions, getting really great scores, and coming home with medals.
Getting rebrewed. Usually
Rebrewed.
collaborations, they go away. But
You're right, they
stuck
do.
around.
One-timers typically, but this one did not. We kept it on. We actually just rebrewed it, and it's on tap right now at Avon Brewing Company. Blackberry Bambalam. So
Get you some.
come on, get you some. Also, we did another collaboration. You've won and come in second a couple times in that competition.
Right. Yeah.
And brewed elsewhere. But we got together on the Snobs collaboration.
Yeah, that wasn't just me. That was a whole bunch of snobs. We came in and brewed a barley wine.
At our
With Avon
location.
there, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you're part of that. You're one of the 5 that showed up that day, I think.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat. And our brewer, Pete, which we're going to have on the next episode, doing a podcast section for us because Pete is a really into the podcast scene, and I think that's good for everybody out here, what podcasts are good in the brewing world. And he's going to be on every week to kind of tell us what podcasts are really up and coming, what to be listening for that. But Pete was there. Pete's our brewer in Avon. He's going to be our pub brewer at the new location. And Pete makes great wort, and we're excited to have him as part of our staff and our family. And brought you guys in, brewed a really cool beer.
Yeah.
And the deets on that are pretty sick, right?
Yeah.
Clocks in about 10%. Nice and malty.
Yep. What were the hops? Galaxy?
No Galaxy.
Polaris?
Polaris.
Polaris. Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah,
some
it's really
really nice hops. More of an American version of that, but it sits really well. And then we had you guys in for a really cool release, and the Snobs packed the house, and we had a good time together. And that beer's currently off. We put it in Sixel, so it goes off and back on.
Okay.
It's off right now, so you can't get that yet, but it will be on soon. So make sure you check out Avon Brewing Company on none of our Facebook pages and Instagram. We'll make sure we have that out. So that's kind of how we got together. Plus, how are we here today, Dave? This is crazy.
Yeah.
How are we in Bay Village, Ohio?
Well, we're at Audio Bay Studios, which is run by Billy Morris. And
You mean the Billy Morris?
The Billy Morris, of Billy Morris and the Sunset Strip.
Fanboy.
Yeah. And he had us on, they had a show called Smoke and Talk and Roll, and they just bring weird people on to talk about what they do.
Like me and you.
He had both of us on, and we just talked about beer.
Mm-hmm.
And we had so much fun that, Matthias was joking, hey, we should do a brewing podcast. And I'm like,
I wasn't joking. You were.
how
thought
serious?
I was.
How serious are you about that?
I'm really serious.
So yeah, we kicked it around for a few months, and here we are. So
Here we are. So that's our origin story, right?
Yeah.
From the first time we
That's
met in
us.
2017 to now. And I love you. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
And
I love you too.
Love the relationship we've created around beer and family, and it's really cool. I look
Yeah.
forward to doing this together. So
It's time for
All right, so we're going to talk about some homebrew happenings, what's going on here, what I got in my pots,
Yeah,
in
please
my
do.
tanks and stuff. So I did brew a barley wine. I was inspired by the snobs thing, so I did
let's wait a minute. Let's tell the truth. So this is
Uh-oh.
off script here. So it does tell the truth. We did an opportunity for all people who brewed that day to take home some of our wort.
Yeah,
So let's tell the truth. So
Okay.
we gave everybody wort at the end of the day to take home and to ferment however you wanted to, and to kind of come back and let us taste all the cool things you did with it at home.
yeah.
What happened?
So, I had a sanitized container and took it home, and I couldn't get to it that day. 2 days went by, and it went bad. It went south, and not in a bready kind of good way. It went in like a garbage pile, stinky kind of way. So I had to.
So you
I had
couldn't
to-
salvage it and throw some other stuff in it?
No, it was bad. So I had to dump it. So I had to brew a barley wine myself.
No, that's
So-
fine. I just thought it was funny. We didn't discuss that. So so you had to brew your own barley wine, and in the name of all good high ABV beers, it's called
Faceplant barley wine.
Faceplant Barley Wine.
Yeah, you got to come up with
You
something.
get the carpet marks on your face.
Yeah.
Right? That's awesome.
Yeah, so my friend Eric Gibb has a 5-gallon oak barrel that had whiskey in it. He bought it, and they bottled all the whiskey for him. He gave me a bottle. It was delicious. So we used that, and I put that in there, and I'm going to
Nice.
keep it in there probably 6 months at least.
Oh, yeah.
We'll taste it, see how it goes, and longer is probably better. So I'll keep you
you'll
posted
see,
on
for
that
sure.
one. Yeah.
I'd love to try that. What else you brewing up, Dave?
I brewed up another Saison.
Surprise.
Strangely enough, surprise. Did some raspberries this time. This one's called Resting Bitch Face. Definitely not named
Email.
after my wife.
Email
No,
number
not at
one.
all. No, just kidding.
Email number one.
Yeah.
RBF.
Yeah. So I decided to go with the last time when I did the blackberry Bamble Amp.
Yep.
I pureed the blackberries myself, pulled off a little beer. It's a great way to introduce a bunch of oxygen to your
For sure.
beer.
No, you're
So
right.
I'm like, this is not the greatest idea. So I bought prepackaged, pasteurized raspberry puree and put it in the fermenter this time rather than after it ferments.
Yep.
And I was going to put like 4 to 5 liters, but there's almost $40 a liter. So I'm like, well, we're looking at $200. I'll go 2 liters. So we'll see. I think it's going to be low on the raspberry character, but
You can always
we'll see
add
it.
more, though. Now that, it's
I
not
could.
in the
yeah.
secondary or
Yeah.
ready to
I
keg
probably
out.
could.
We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
sure it's
see.
going to taste
We'll
fantastic.
taste it and see.
Yeah, absolutely. So you had the opportunity last summer to again win an opportunity
was
to
this
brew
It's competition.
a
again,
beer,
yeah.
right, coming out of the Waterfront District Brew Fest, and you were at the team of Collision Bend.
Yeah.
Right?
Guess what it was? It was a Saison. Yeah. It was an orange peel peppercorn Saison.
Oh, that
And,
sounds fun.
We did that. And so we went down there, had a lot of fun with Luke and Ben and Phil and all those
Great
guys.
people.
Their brewery is very strategically laid out. Every inch of space is utilized. It's kind of a
Mm-hmm.
weird space, but it was really cool brewing there.
I love the space. So if you kind of walk in to the brewery there in the flats, so if you've never been to Collision Bend, you need to, by the way.
Yeah.
Their food is ridiculous. It's $1 million view, and the brewery is there to the left of the restaurant, and they have their grain and then their mash and their boil kettle there right behind glass. It's
right on the street.
Yep. It's a 15-barrel Portland Kettle Works system,
Mm-hmm.
which is what we have in Avon to our new location. We have a 5-barrel right now, so it's a kind of a homey for us. And then they transfer through lines across the way to rows of fermenters
Yeah.
as well. So great
then
setup
they
for the brewery.
serve out of the big bright tanks.
Yeah, bright
which
tanks.
is, so, we're going to have a release party when that comes out.
Oh, yeah.
We'll let you guys all know.
Let everybody know because we're going to show up there. Maybe even do a little.
They love
live
it. They're
thing.
like, drink beer. Yes.
Drink beer. So absolutely, we love that. Pills, wheat malt. What 565
Yeah,
saison again?
Same saison yeast. Yeah. So we're gonna have a party when that comes out, and since they do serve out of the bright tanks, it'll probably be ready before they have space for it. So go down ahead of time and drink some other beer up, so we can free up a tank.
Drink their
Yeah.
beer.
Drink a
right?
lot of their beer.
Before this comes on, so that
Yeah,
we can come
so
back
we-
and
so
have
we
it
come
sooner.
on, yeah.
For sure. I
Right.
think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to talk every week we're on the show about pro brew happenings. And so we'll have a guest on a regular basis here. But today we're going to talk about some really cool opportunities in the area to go check out some really awesome craft beer. First and foremost, where we've been recently, both of us, but also you particularly, Unplugged in Elyria, just did a really cool beer with Rigid Tools and Rival Brews called Rigid Wrenched 100 IPA, which is actually, or not actually, but it's a really cool beer.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, we were just there a couple Saturdays ago.
Mm-hmm.
Had a pint of that. And
Yeah, they have it in
Really
draft. They also have it in
enjoyed
cans
it.
all over the
Yeah.
place,
yeah,
right? All over the place. They also put out their 2-year anniversary beer. What's that called?
Jester's
Jester's Rye.
Rye. Yeah,
And again, that's good.
got a really nice rye character.
Mhm.
Yep.
I love the
Really
little tap
enjoyable.
room. I love the little tap room. I love Carlos, the great people. So make sure you go out and see Unplugged in Elyria. Great Lakes is celebrating 35 years in business. That is crazy. I mean, we're in our 7th year, and I feel like it's been forever. 35 years. They are the godfather of the brewing industry
Yeah.
in Ohio and elsewhere too. They are, if you look at their website, and they're looking to turn some different beers on their calendar this year. One of them is that Vivacious Double IPA, which is releasing in March in cans, but I think we've had that in draft. Would you say that?
Yeah, I've had it at a bunch of places.
Yeah, right? Some are already
Yeah.
out in draft.
Yeah, it's really good. It moves fast.
It moves fast because it's good and it's new,
Yeah.
right? I think it has Apollo Cashmere, which I love, right? And Citra, which is the mother of all hops anymore.
Right.
So it's a great double IPA. It's going to be in their IPA sampler pack called Hop Madness. So look for that in all Great Lakes locations. Again, back to Lorain County, which is where I'm at. We have Franklin. Our friends at Franklin are excited to be moving from Elyria at a small little barn on their home property
Yeah.
to
garage, basically.
Grafton, right? Where they're
Yeah.
going to have a tap room, which is looks really nice on Facebook. So much so that what happened, Dave? You went there, right?
Yeah, I talked my wife into going, hey, Saturday, let's go on out to this Franklin, their new tap room.
Yeah.
She's like, are you sure they're open? I'm like, yeah, they're open. They weren't open.
They weren't
So,
open.
No, they weren't. So we drove by. I made her walk in, though, and they waved her in. Come on in, come on. So, we went in.
That sounds like
and-
Aaron.
Yeah, and they gave us a couple samples, and he has the same tanks, but moved him there,
Mhm.
and he was describing how they're adjusting to the new location and different piping runs
Yep.
and different beer line runs. So you got playing with the carbonation level and the recipes because of all that. But I think he's got it dialed in. We had a couple nice samples.
Nice.
So
Always good to have samples off the tanks. They're
I
going to be
think
open
they're
really
gonna-
soon.
I think they're going to have a soft opening like coming up this week.
We'll let you know soon.
Plan
That's pretty
on-
exciting.
he did say they're going to be open for St. Patty's Day. So
Gotta love that. Love Aaron.
Yeah.
Was Howard there too?
yes,
So a fun connection between Aaron and Howard with Franklin, but they also are ones that were the first and behind Brewfest Waterfront District,
is
which
that
is
right?
Howard.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
that's
sure.
right. That's right.
So there were some inaugural people there,
Yeah.
and just a good connection all around in Lorain County. More Lorain County news. We have Laughing Bomb Brewery, which has posted on their social media that they're looking to move to Avon, where we're at, which is exciting for all things Avon. Not a whole lot about their brewery yet. They were, I believe, scheduled to be in the North Olmsted area, but are now looking in the Avon area to see what would happen for their brewery.
Good for us.
Oh, absolutely, right? They have ties to, I believe, Fatheads and Saucy. Really good people, had a really good background in sensory and just brewing. So excited about them.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah,
Got
it's
a
gonna be
cool
really
looking logo too.
They do. They
Check
do.
them out.
Speaking of Avon, Railroad Brewing Company
Yes.
has a really big announcement. Tomorrow, they're opening their new restaurant called Center Station, which is actually right on the tracks.
It's right on the railroad
right?
now, yeah.
Absolutely. So just a little bit north on 83 from their current location.
It's the old Bubba's Q.
Yeah, old Bubba Q, right?
Moosehead.
Moosehead, most recently,
most
right?
recently, yeah.
So they have food and all of their beer there. They're not moving their brewing there because they're right across the street from them. Not across the
Right.
street, but right down the street from them. And that tap room will still be open for brewing and I'm sure special events. And Tom and crew will be more than happy to help you out with that. But great things for Railroad. We're excited for them.
Can't wait.
Oh, absolutely. So get over to Railroad for that. We have a couple really interesting things happen recently in the local scene when it comes to craft beer. First and foremost, COVID was hard for everybody, right? We mentioned having to close down on St. Patrick's Day. That was tough.
Right.
To be told on a Sunday, as a family, we were at, it's actually coming up pretty soon because it's on my calendar that we're having the Avon Little League Baseball Draft at the brewery on a Sunday. We're open on Sundays, but we have that there for them. So that's a really cool thing we do for our community. And during that event, we looked at the TV and our most beautiful, wonderful, sarcasm, governor mentioned that we were going to be closing down all breweries and restaurants by Tuesday, which was St. Patrick's Day. And I looked at my brother and my dad who were there, and I said, we need to have a meeting right now because at that time we were 100% food in-house, didn't do anything to go, and 100% beer in-house, didn't can. We did a couple growlers, but in general we were pretty much 100% in-house. That was our model, right? It had to turn from 100% in-house to 100% to go in 2 days. And our next week's guest, our next time we're here in 2 weeks, Jason Lowry, a home brewer, right?
Yeah.
Hooked up a brewery with his home little canning system.
Oh, is that his? I didn't know that was his.
Yeah, his little canning system. We owe that guy so much, I got to tell you. And Franklin, too. We borrowed theirs. And so we had 2 little canning lines moving, kegged out almost 3 barrels of Clash of Clans, which is our kind of a red shilling ale, right? And then Brian went out and found all the to-go boxes he could in the area, all the bags, and we decided to go, not knowing what to do. And come St. Patrick's Day, we sold out by 7 o'clock of all of our beer and all of our food, and that helped us go through the entire time of COVID, which was a blessing. We love our community, we love Avon, which brings me to what happened here recently. The news of Catawba Island Brewing going into bankruptcy, which is close to you. So why don't you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we have a place up in Marblehead, and, Catawba Island is really close to our hearts because it's halfway between our place and downtown Port Clinton.
For sure.
And when you run down to the Jet Express, go over the island, or just downtown Port Clinton, it's a great place to come back and stop and have a beer. They had a great tap room, nice bar. They'd have live music in the summer. The doors are open, and they have cornhole and just people hanging out, and have some great beers. I hope they come out of bankruptcy and reopen and are better for it. So
yeah, that's a big possibility, right? That has not been mentioned too much online, but the options are coming out of bankruptcy pretty strong in today's world. Let's hope so, right? They're looking at expansion. We're going to do collaboration with them this year, so
I think
beautiful place.
COVID kind of got them too because they were in the midst of trying to expand their reach a little bit, and got closed down like at the most inopportune moment, and kind of squeezed them, and here's where we are, and
it's tough. It's tough.
Fun.
So let's keep them, in the front of our minds, and hopefully that they come back around, and if not, best wishes to them and their family.
Hope
for
they
sure.
land on their feet.
Absolutely. In other news, we have a big one here, which is Platform Beer Company, right? Something we've had both history with. So we're going to keep that on a pretty level plane here because of that, I believe.
Yeah.
100%. Between Justin and crew, Paul, just good people to us years ago.
Right.
So
Right.
we'll keep that together. Wish nothing but great things for their family, because Platform, again, we have connection with them. Opened in Cleveland in 2014 as a darling of the industry, right? Doing what nobody else was doing, which was putting out new beers all the time. At Avon, we put out about a beer a week. We try to. That model is really good for local. And that's what they kind of founded themselves on, right? A platform to help other people, helped us, helped you, kind of get those things moving. And really hyper local conversation, right? Not even just Drink Ohio. We're talking about Drink Cleveland, Drink Ohio City. And then 2019, Platform sold to Anheuser-Busch, which we all know in the brewing world is probably the devil, right? The worst possible case scenario. And I'm not meaning that in a negative way. They have to do what they have to do for their family, but in a general concept, Anheuser-Busch doesn't do great things for craft beer in the local scene. It's a fact, right? And while on the outside it looked like they talked about the good game about helping their employees get benefits and all of those wonderful things, what came to fruition is pretty much what we all expected. Was that they just this past week closed their doors, right? They closed the tap room in Ohio City. They closed their brewery. They closed Funkin' Chip, which is a beautiful location.
Closed.
Columbus one's already closed. Again, another issue with that. And then La Coba in Cincinnati is also currently closed, awaiting what's going to happen next. And so with that being said, we don't wish that will on anybody else, but Platform closed. And we want to talk to you about local, because that's really important to us, right? Local beer, local people.
Yes.
Home brewers.
Yes.
Local back to us and Avon Brewing Company, or anywhere else for that matter. We believe full-heartedly in local ingredients, local people, local craft, and we want that to be the case across the board. So that's why we're here today, to talk about those specific things. And we feel bad for their employees. Good for Saucy, who's out there promoting food and drink for their employees. I know some of our friends have already taken up that offer and posted on social media. So just good things for Saucy across the board.
Yeah, I just hope, again, all those people that worked there, worked hard, end up on their feet in a good place.
100%.
Soon.
100%. And we're always looking for people in Avon Brewing Company too. So if you're willing to drive to the west side, we need cooks in all 3 locations. We need bartenders. We need servers. We need just good people to be part of our family too. So if that's you out there, if you're listening, hit me up, right? AvonBrewingCompany@gmail.com. We'll make sure we sit down and talk about a few things. One of our big kind of promoters this past week has been the Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News with Rob Tittle and I would say the rest of the flight crew, putting out some really good content on the internet, right?
Yeah.
So if you're on Facebook, make sure you check out Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News for all of your news for craft beer. And so I'm going to walk through some of the things they talked about this week with some updates, right? So again, they posted today that Fatheads, which I think is a wonderful beer, released their 2022 Great American Beer Festival award-winning Bonehead Red.
Yeah, that's a great beer.
And it's in cans.
Yeah.
So good for us.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to travel to the brewery to get a pint.
I know.
You can get it in a can.
Wasn't always the case. Yeah.
Wasn't always the case. So good for them. We already talked about Railroad. My Ugly Mug is on this Facebook page as well. Chef Alex Horn is at Louisville, which is at Unhitched. Pretty cool to watch Alex, as I know, or Alejandro, place 3rd at Hell's Kitchen. So if you're in Unhitched, they have great beer. They have great food. I love their brewer. I love their owner and their family. Good people down there at Unhitched. A couple really cool beer releases coming up then around the area, and this is what I want to talk about here from their page. You can see that again on Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News. They have a Facebook page. Missing Mountain has their Prince Juice back, which I love. I love Missing Mountain. Those guys are just killing it there. They have a great location. Bascule, another Lorain County brewery in Lorain, has their flagship distillery, Hop Waters. Hi-Ho in Cuyahoga Falls has their Pints Full of Thoughts New England IPA out. Pulpo, which is newer. Pulpo, they're a brewery that moved into the old Willoughby. What's it called?
B-Spot. It was the old
Well,
B-Spot?
in Westlake, right?
Yeah.
But they were at Brim Kitchen in Willoughby,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So they took over the kitchen there, made a Mexican restaurant, and then took over the brewery and did Pulpo Beer Co. And now they're open in Westlake, right by us. Epic, great family, really cool beer.
Yeah.
Like to put additives in, just like I do. So really cool people. They pulled their sister out of the chemistry world and had her be their head brewer, and she is a rock star.
Yeah.
I love them. Go to Pulpo and Willoughby at Brim Kitchen, the old Brim location, but also then in Westlake at the old B spot at Pulpo Beer Co. Avon Brewing, we have some beers out. Clash of Clans and our barrel-aged Clash of Clans is available at One Stop. Medina's Wrecking Crew, some of our friends out of Medina are hashtagging Lager is Life this week. They put out 3 new lagers. JAFB, a ridiculous brewery down in Worcester, has released their Third Degree Burn, which is a triple
What
hazy.
does JAFB stand for?
I can't say that because we're on the Just Another Brewery,
Yeah.
right? Again, Blue Heron, more of our friends out in Medina County have a triple IPA as well. Hoppin' Frog is killing it. Their Boars is out. Codex, Cloven Hoof, Arche. There's a lot to talk about in that area, but again, make sure you go to Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News to find a lot of your local information on their new beer releases and new things up and coming in the craft beer world.
Awesome.
Heck yeah, man.
But hey, man,
What?
I hear ABC's doing something new in Avon. I hear something's
ABC
happening.
is doing something new. So we've been super blessed to have the opportunity to expand, right? So we've been at the corner of Detroit and Colorado now for 7 years, and we are on the verge of putting a shovel in the ground on a 16,000 square foot restaurant
Let's
and
get
brewery
busy.
in the heart of Avon. Dude, it's exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to show everybody what's going on. We're in permitting right now. We have much of our stuff already purchased, and we're just ready to break ground. So I know today was the day, D-Day for us, the last day of February. I'm here instead of out there, so no shovel in the ground
come
today. But we're moving closer, right, which
Cool.
is super exciting. Again, Avon Brewing CO for all of our Facebook and Instagram needs. Make sure we get everybody out there. Pack the place out for our groundbreaking. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that for our community. Big time. Bigger kitchen.
It's closer to my house, so I'm in trouble.
I don't know about in trouble.
I'll walk there.
You can walk home now,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Yeah.
even better, right?
I don't know.
So
not sure.
16,000 square foot restaurant and brewery, 200 parking spaces up from 26.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, right now you can risk your life going on Detroit if you park at
Try
that
to
secondary.
cut through people there early on. We have a really big kitchen for my brother to expand what we do and to get things out faster, right? We're a scratch kitchen, which is pretty exciting. We also, what I love is that we're going to be a brew-eccentric space. So we're going to have a really cool party room that butts up to a 3,000 square foot beer garden, which I love, with some fire pits and just the ability to hang out
Right.
and have a beverage, right? Which is exactly what we want to do. So, Dave, there's a couple things going on in the homebrew world, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about some competitions coming up in the homebrew world for those that are out there that might want to be entering some beer?
Yeah, the National Homebrew Association is. We're coming up on the annual competition. It's kind of the holy grail of homebrew competitions. If you medal there, you've really done something.
Nice.
I enter in years past. I have medaled in the first round, made it through
Nice.
to the second, but I've never medaled in the final round. But I entered 3 beers this year, so we'll see what happens.
What'd you send in?
Well, I sent in not my most recent barley wine because that's still in the barrel. I'm sending in a 2019 barley wine, entering it as an old ale because
Yep.
it's a little bit.
It's an old ale.
fallen off.
Yeah.
Fallen off a little bit now. I entered that Saison, which it's finishing up now.
It's time.
We
Why
haven't
not?
we haven't
For
sent
sure.
it in yet, and I'm going to do a Irish stout.
Nice.
Like a dry Irish stout. I've never entered one of those in a competition, but I got one that I think is pretty decent.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we'll send them.
I haven't tried your Irish stout. Why don't you bring it up and we'll have that? you
Yeah,
know,
I could do that.
'cause Yeah, I mean, at ABC, we just released a couple really cool beers. Our Soul Stealer Red,
yeah.
and then our Black Abbey Irish Stout. So seasonal,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Bring
yeah.
that up and let's have a little taste.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Absolutely.
So the competition went back to 2 rounds this year. In COVID, they went to a 1 round only. And if you're judging a beer competition, and these judges have to judge first and second round, and it's like a morning and afternoon, it's rough. You know, you kind of, your
lot.
stomach gets a little, it's because I know a couple guys who judged, and it's 2 rounds is better, separate days. So the entry limit, they limited it to 5 beers per brewer, and they increased the fee. It's like almost $40 to enter a beer. So I know it's not.
I wish ours was only
not-
$40 to enter a beer.
It's not a beer cup level, but you know, it's more than it used to be. It used to be fairly cheap. So
Yeah.
we're gonna see. We'll see how we do. It's
Yeah.
in San Diego this year. So when is it coming up? It's June.
Are you going to head out to San Diego?
No, that's a little far.
It's a far piece.
la-
Beautiful, though.
Last year it was in Pittsburgh, so that was beautiful. We
And
just
you were there
drove
for
out
that.
there. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was
And
great.
you met one of my dad's college
Old
buddies.
college buddies. Yeah,
How
he's
funny
like,
is
"Hey,"
that?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, Avon, I got a buddy who owns a brewery in there." I'm like, "Do tell. Tell me who that is."
That's pretty cool.
So there's a pro brewer competition coming up.
Yeah. The Craft Brewers Conference is coming up May 7 through 10 in Nashville. The World Beer Cup is also out there. We did not enter anything this year. We're trying to transition to our 3 5-barrel breweries to try to
Okay.
move into our new location. But next year we plan on doing those things. We also just were a part of the Ohio Craft Brewers Conference here in Cleveland, which was wonderful. We had a great time gathering together and learning from each other, and just seeing the really cool response to the over 400 Ohio craft breweries, which is, again, a neat thing to say.
Yeah.
Right? Really neat thing to say. Speaking of craft brewers, right, the OCBA, Ohio Craft Brewers Association, is putting on the Winter Warmer Fest coming up here this weekend, actually.
Yeah.
The Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is you are going to be with me on Friday
Yes.
hanging out. We're going to be pouring at our booth at the VIP section. First time this year. We're going to be doing our barrel-aged Christmas Ale. That's why I brought it today. And our barrel-aged King Coconut.
Ooh.
So we're going to be doing some pretty heavy beers, some that aren't out there right now. The ticket price is pretty high, but you get hors d'oeuvres and a really cool opportunity to try some really neat beers. And then they have it on Saturday. There's still some tickets for both of those opportunities, I believe. If you go to I think beerfesttickets.com, I believe,
Yes.
for Winter Warmer. I guess you can always search OCBA Winter Warmer. It's down at the Windows on the River, the old Powerhouse Mall. What brewery was down there? We talked about that the other day.
Oh yeah, upstairs there.
It looks exactly the same if you walk into it, by the way. What is it? Yes, from the wifey.
I know, right?
Rock Bottom.
Rock Bottom. Yeah.
I used to have a growler from Rock Bottom. I
Yeah.
bet I still have that growler
Oh.
somewhere. So Rock Bottom, same space, right? So we're going to be upstairs from there. And I think you have tickets for Saturday, but we're going to be
Yeah.
pouring 8 beers on Saturday. That is the premiere. We talked about the Brewfest in Lorraine being one of the premiere. It is in the summer. This right here is the granddaddy of them all.
I feel like we say every beer fest is the best.
This is the best.
It is
I
the
promise, right? You get to support OCBA. You get to drink some of the craziest beers that are out there for people. Save these winter warmers all year and create some new ones for you. They got pins outside, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet. Everybody's pouring everything they've got, right? Giving everything they got for you guys out there. So
they bring their A game, or you don't get asked
everybody's
back.
bringing an A game, or you do not come back.
Yeah.
Out of 400 breweries, it's a pick the best of the best. So we're there. We're excited about
it's
being one
gonna
of the
be
main
great.
sponsors, Avon Brewing Company. We're there Friday night and Saturday. Come see us there at the Winter Warmer Beer Fest. Dave, so one of the things we want to talk about is not just beer, right? We're excited about that. We got about 10 minutes or so left in our show. What is going on in the world of Cleveland outside of beer?
Well, I just wanted to hit real quick on the Glam Fest that we're in Billy Morris's studio here in Audio Bay, and he plays guitar.
We should probably talk about that, right?
Yeah, he plays with Tough. Him and Todd Chason and Stevie Rachel from
Yep.
Hell.
Yep.
And Todd with a 1D. The
1D.
other Todd. They play in a band Tough, and they were out in Australia touring around with the Glam Fest, and that's kind of why we were delayed a couple weeks. but they were with Pretty Boy Floyd
Yep.
and some other bands. Eclipse,
Pussycat.
Faster Pussycat.
Yep.
Eclipse is a great Swedish band. We've seen them on Monsters of Rock.
Nice. Rocking the T-shirt today,
yeah,
Monsters
yeah.
of Rock.
Yeah, so just, shout out to Billy and Todd and Stevie.
Just great people.
Yeah.
We'll plug what they do too, right? So they're going to put aside their kind of podcast days because their food truck is out and about. Their
It's really getting
smoke
busy.
and rock and roll food truck.
Yep.
Coming out of the back kitchen here at the studio. But they do really good things though, right? They don't just sell fantastic barbecue,
Which they do.
They give back to their community a ton. They give food to our first responders. They partner with other people all throughout our communities, east and west side, and do really good things. So if you ever see Smoke and Rock and Roll food truck around, make sure you hook up with them because they are just killing it. So
Yeah.
excellent things. So apart from Glam Fest, which I'm sure was awesome, and I wish I would be there for that. Can't wait! I love to watch
Yeah.
Billy play. He was just played this past weekend, so
Oh, he's always out. Yeah, check him out. Billy
absolutely.
Morris and the Sunset Strip.
Billy Morris and the Sunset Strip.
So I got a busy couple months coming up with shows. We got a show coming up this Thursday at the Agora, the Winery Dogs, which nobody's probably ever heard of, except me and two other people.
Probably.
But it's really a super group. Mike Portnoy, Billy Sheehan, and Richie Kotzen, and
Nice.
they've played with
A lot of
a
people.
bunch of different bands. Dream Theater, Portnoy's from Dream Theater, and Richie Kotzen played in Poison for a hot minute.
Mr. Big, Sons of Apollo.
Sons of Apollo. Billy Sheehan played with David Lee Roth for a hot second. It's going to be an awesome show. So that's this Thursday. Then I have Winter Warmer on Friday.
Party.
And
Saturday.
So this is going to be rough for this old man. So we'll see what happens. We got another show coming up the end of the month, the 25th, at the Foundry in Lakewood, which is a small club for Life of Agony. A really heavy metal band from the early 90s. Super into them. Can't wait for that show. So.
Nice. Now, Dave mentioned he loves the rock and roll. I mentioned I like country and other things. And so country season is pretty much like summer, beachy,
For sure.
fun, right? A lot of people put on their cowboy hats in the summer
Sure.
and move to that country music swing. So we'll be talking about some of those opportunities here soon. But I really love the Cleveland Orchestra, and they're playing this weekend at Severance Hall. But I really want to talk about something today that I love. I love comedians, and I love Bert Kreischer. So, you know who that guy is?
I didn't until you sent me the link, and now I kind of want to go see him.
So, this is gentleman I was introduced to on a YouTube channel where he takes his shirt off when he talks in comedy, right? And the first thing I watched of him was when he was talking about his skit, The Machine. Right?
Yeah.
And so he tells this wonderful story about just being a delinquent and going over to Russia and just drinking his face off and becoming part of the Russian mob, which really set his tone for who he is today. And he has a great story. He's a hilarious comedian. And he's going to be here in Cleveland at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on April the 8th. I know it's a little bit ahead of time, but he's sold out every other show up to this point. So
Want to get to see him, you got to buy now.
buy now.
Yeah.
I plan to go watch him. I love the dude.
Yeah.
He's
Isn't he making a
hilarious.
movie about that skit?
He's making a movie about that skit. The trailer's out right now. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go online and look up The Machine, Bert Kreischer, Kreischer. It's going to be fantastic.
It looks good.
So
I'm interested.
let's do it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when you talk about what we want to do here, right, as we talk about how we want to connect to you, our audience, and give you the content that you want, we want you to send us information and questions that you want answered or any type of content you want to see go on here on our podcast, right? So that's what we want to see.
Yeah, not
So
any content. Let's keep it
PG.
Keep it PG.
That's good.
At least, yeah.
So, Dave, how do people get a hold of us and how do they send in questions for us?
Okay, just email us at our Gmail account, blabbermalt@gmail.com.
blabbermalt@gmail.com. So we have no questions today, but I think you have a question that you want to ask about a typical brew day.
Yeah, it's a general question. Not every task during the brew day is fun. So if you could hire a chimp to do one task during the brew day, what would it be?
Oh, that's a big one. So if I were to hire a chimp monkey, right?
Yeah, he's an adult chimp. He's strong. He can,
Adult chimp, he can work with his hands,
Yeah.
opposable thumbs, the whole nine.
Yeah.
One job, what would it be? I think the process of graining out, right?
Yeah.
Getting all the grain out.
It's a terrible job.
Horrible job,
Yeah.
right? There's pictures of you online at Collision Men doing the very same thing.
Yeah, when you do a collaboration, that's the job they give you.
That's the
Grain
job
out.
you get. Graining out.
Get the rake.
Let them all do their work and you grain out, right? But also the grain out process also is cleaning out the mash tun too. So taking out the grates for the false bottom. All of those things I would love to have a chimp do.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you, Dave?
If I would extend it to the entire brew process and say clean the fermenter.
Clean the
after
fermenter.
the beer's out.
For sure. So one of the craziest stories I ever talk about is Luke over at Collision Men when he was at Great Lakes, the rock star that he is. He talks about seeing they had the Indians came in to tour the facility and they were standing up there. And here's these gentlemen who were living the dream, right, making millions of dollars playing a kid's sport. They look down and they see Luke pop his head out of a fermenter, and he's just scrubbing away. It's just turning in the tank, and he's just getting at it. And he hears him say, "Man, that man right there is living the dream." He said himself,
Yeah.
"Shut the front door," right? Like, come on, man. What we do is like 95% cleaning.
It's
right?
a janitor's
It's a
job.
janitor's
for sure,
job,
yeah.
but it's a good thing, right? So don't want to break the rock star mentality, but the idea is to be clean so that we can create good beer for everybody. So
The thing about like I have a small, if you go into a brewery and you see this gigantic fermentation tank,
Yep.
I have basically the same thing. It's small, and I just wonder why I do this because you still have just as many bits and bobs to clean, but it only gives you 10 gallons of beer, and you got 300 gallons here. Like, what
It's
am
true.
I doing? So I got to clean the same thing. I don't know.
pain in the butt.
I need a bigger tank.
Get a chimp.
Get a chimp.
That's the missus.
Get a chimp.
Can we get a chimp? She said yes.
Yeah, he can do other stuff.
I love it.
Yeah.
She just, without any question, across the stage said,
Yeah.
yes, we're getting a chimp.
All right, get a chimp.
Cool. Last session.
It's
What we got?
time to grain out. It's time to grain out. Grain out.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up for today, folks. We had a great show. Next show, which is in 2 weeks, we have a great guest we mentioned before, Jason Lowry.
Jason Lowry,
He's
my
the,
dude.
2021 Ninkasi Brewer of the Year.
That's crazy.
And we're going to tell you what that is the next time we meet.
Man. So Jason's a local guy. We love him to pieces. He's part of our family, and I cannot wait to have this young man on.
Yeah.
He's a
great
rock
dude.
star
Yeah.
as a person.
As a brewer.
And as a brewer, too.
Yeah.
So as Dave mentioned, we are doing this in this studio every other week, right? So starting today and then every other week from here forward, as long as we can keep going. Right. But we will be doing a show every single week. The in-between weeks, we will be doing them via live Facebook and YouTube on our phones, right?
We could be anywhere.
Anywhere. Probably next week at Avon Brew Company, but
Yeah.
we'll go from there, right? But that's the goal. So every week at 7 o'clock, we'll be here live, Facebook, YouTube. But every other week, we'll be here in the studio with guests across the board. So
We're going to have a beer next week. What are we going to be drinking?
yeah, we have a beer next week. So I mentioned that we're going to be, we now have our barrel-aged Clash of Clans, which we aged for almost 2 years in barrels. That's our Imperial Red Shilling Ale, our Clash of Clans in barrels. We have that in cans now. You can find it at One Stop, which you can go to One Stop and find it either at Avon Brewing Company, ZZ's, or Medina Brewing Company. Those are all in cans or One Stop. Go out and find a beer. We want to crack one with you, so
yeah,
we want to
get
see
one,
that.
Get one, and we're going to drink it and compare
And
it.
we would love for you to take selfies of that and put it online, and we'll try to post those as we move
that'd be
forward,
cool.
right?
Yeah,
That'd
we
be
can
pretty
do
cool.
that.
So let's do that.
Yeah.
Hashtag BLABBERMALT show, right? We'll
Yeah.
go from there. And then, so Bourbon Barrel Aged Clash of Clans, find that. and we'll crack one together next week. Dave, how do people, again, email us questions? How do we do that? Let's get that thing rolling.
Yeah, blabbermalt@gmail.com. At YouTube and Facebook, we are The Blabbermalt Show. Instagram and Twitter, we are at Blabbermalt.
Perfect. So one more time for everybody as we kind of sign off today. Reminder, email questions to blabbermalt@gmail.com. All of our socials, Facebook and YouTube at The Blabbermalt Show. Instagram and Twitter at Blabbermalt. So, guys, we appreciate what a great day today. Until next time, stay malty, Cleveland.